Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Many of the Florida State fans already know that Patrick Payton is one of those players that I certainly have my eyes on heading into the 2024 year. And I use the term breakout. Patrick Payton has already broken out to the college football landscape. But why I choose to use that term is because I think a lot of Florida State fans know there's still a lot of juice left to be squeezed with Patrick Payton as an overall football player. Heading into the 2024 year, you continue to see the flashes of absolute dominance for Patrick Payton. And if he can make that a little bit more consistent in 2024, you're looking at not only one of the best pass rushers in the ACC, but I think one of the better pass rushers in the country. Want to dive into the film of Patrick Payton and kind of take a look at where he's made those steps as a football player over the last couple of years. And it makes me think about that narrative that Mike Norvell cannot recruit and develop his own guys from the high school ranks. You look no further than Patrick Payton. He came to Tallahassee as a 6'5", 200-pound prospect that a lot of people thought would play that off-ball linebacker position, continues to put on the weight, continues to learn that pass rusher position, and has taken a step in the right direction every single year for this Florida State program. Really excited to get into this one. Before we do, and as always, just want to say thank you to you guys and a massive shout out to the Florida State fans. This has been a program that, whether we're talking the recruiting trail, whether we're taking film deep dives, the amount of support the Florida State fans have shown the boys truly does mean a lot. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm still working through a lot of these guys for this Florida State program, doing some film deep dives on some of the newcomers into this team. Appreciate y'all rocking with it. And without further ado, let's get into Patrick Payton. Now, taking a look back at what he was in 2023, extremely disruptive, and I would say even more disruptive than the numbers showing the stat sheet, right? 7 sacks, a phenomenal number. 32 quarterback hurries. That was only 4 less quarterback hurries than Jared Verse, who I think should probably be drafted with a top 15 NFL draft pick. 10 batted balls at the line of scrimmage. I don't know if I've seen a number from a defensive lineman that high. The knack that Patrick Payton has to knocking balls down at the line of scrimmage with those long arms, extremely impressive. And I think he's come a long way as a run defender as well. Now, that's probably where you want to see him take that step heading into 2024, but this is the heaviest he's been, right? 6'5", up to 255 pounds. That's up 15 pounds from where he was playing last year. You're continuing to see him develop physically at the point of attack. And if he does take that step in the run defense department heading into 2024, you're looking at a really well-rounded player. Now, want to get into the developments we've seen Patrick Payton have as a pure pass rusher. And the first thing I want to talk about is Patrick Payton has extremely long arms. And I think it took him a couple of years to understand how to use that length and how to use his hands at the college football level. But you dive into the film in 2023, you're starting to see him put it together. You fire up this piece of film, right? Working on Emory Jones, who's probably going to be a top 100 NFL draft pick in 2025. Look at how he can start using these hands to disengage from tackles, winning with his hands. And you kind of take a look at the next piece of film, and now he used it the first rep to win on the outside. The next rep, you're going to see 3rd and 2. He's going to use his hands to win on the inside. He frees this frame, really good at getting offensive tackles disengaged with that length, shucking defenders off, and again, patting a ball at the line of scrimmage. We've seen Patrick Payton do that plenty during that 2023 season. That's the first thing that really impresses me about Patrick Payton. Again, you're continuing to look for him to make those developments in terms that you got some of the longest arms as a pass rusher at the college football level. Let's continue to work on using those hands to disengage from tackles and get after the quarterback. The next step that I think you've seen Patrick Payton make is using that burst off the line of scrimmage. Patrick Payton is a Ferrari as a pass rusher. He has a ton of juice coming off the line of scrimmage. We took a look at Sione Lolea last week, more of a Mack truck. He wants to go speed to power. He wants to go right through tackles. Patrick Payton has the ability to really burst and bend off the line of scrimmage and really challenge tackles with his speed and athleticism running the arc, and you're getting to see Patrick Payton get a little bit better at doing that and having a little bit more flexibility in those ankles and hips. You fire this one up against Clemson. I mean, playing from that wide nine outside of the tackle here, you're going to see him get low, try to burst and bend around that tackle, running that arc, continuing to work through that pass rush. And again, the closing speed that you see Patrick Payton have, very, very impressive. There is a lot of varieties in a lot of different ways that Patrick Payton can beat tackles. He can use his length and hands. He can use his burst and bend. Another really good rep in that burst and bend department here, firing up the film against Duke. Again, some really good tackles on that Duke Blue Devils team. This was probably his most impressive film that you looked at. Again, working on kind of getting that, probably drawing a holding there, quite frankly, but getting that depth, getting low, getting bendy around tackles, challenging them athletically on that outside shoulder. Again, probably a hold there, forcing there and pass. I think Patrick Payton has shown a lot of development in terms of using that athleticism to beat tackles on that outside shoulder. And what excites me the most is we've talked about a lot of different ways Patrick Payton can win as a pass rusher. We have those hand uses, right? That length that he has, getting tackles and not letting tackles get hands on him. We talked about using that burst and bend as a pass rusher, beating tackles on the outside. You've seen Patrick Payton have a lot of success starting to use that power game. And again, with that length, you can go speed to power, put your hands on tackles and really start to collapse pockets. Probably Jared Verse's best pass rush move, right? Just going right through tackles. And when you have that ability that Patrick Payton does to win on the outside shoulder, it suddenly opens up a lot of different ways to win with speed and power as well. You fire up this piece of film, you're starting to see Patrick Payton, with all that weight that he's added, start using that speed to power against tackles as well. You fire this one up, just getting underneath, using that length, getting his hands right into the chest plate of offensive tackles in collapsing pockets. I mean, you want to see Patrick Payton continue to develop all those different ways that he can beat tackles as a pass rusher. Another really good piece of film from that Duke game, using speed to power. Again, I'm going to get my hands on you. I'm going to get low into your chest and really just be disruptive in that pocket. I think what makes Patrick Payton special is there are a lot of offense or defensive linemen, pass rushers that can win, but they can only win in a few different ways. We just looked at pretty much every single possible way Patrick Payton can beat tackles, right? He can use his hands to kind of get tackles and not let tackles get hands on him. He can use that burst in athleticism off the line of scrimmage to beat tackles with his speed and bend. And then he also is developing that pass rush move where, hey, I can use my power and get right into the chest of tackles and win with speed to power as well. And when you kind of get that complete pass rush tool bag, if you will, that's when you start seeing tackles really get challenged by a guy like Patrick Payton. Now, the one rep that I want to continue to talk about, in the sense that I want Patrick Payton to become a little bit better of a run defender, right? Patrick Payton, and I think this is where a lot of Florida State fans feel like Patrick Payton has the most ability to grow, and that is as a run defender. I think the effort sometimes is not where you want it to be, and quite frankly, I think that he's continued to add weight. That probably helps Patrick Payton as well. You fire up this piece of film, we know Patrick Payton can do it, right? Working on this tight end right here, Mason Taylor, in this LSU game. I mean, we want to see Patrick Payton do that more, right? Win at the point of attack, not give up much space, and kind of collapse those run plays. I think Patrick Payton probably has the most room to grow as a run defender. But again, he started his career as a 200-pound off-ball linebacker. You kind of knew there would be some growing pains as Patrick Payton is a run defender. But again, he's continuing to put on that weight, continuing to get that body where it needs to be, up to 255 pounds, maybe even up to 260 by when the fall rolls around. I expect Patrick Payton's biggest step to be in that run defense game. And if he puts that together, there's not many holes in his game. He is already one of the better pure pass rushers in college football. If he can continue to get better as a run defender, that's what really is going to make Patrick Payton special. A guy that I think has a super high ceiling as an edge rusher at the college football level. And I think 2024 is the year that he really breaks out and becomes maybe one of the more dominant pass rushers that we see in college football. Extremely excited about Patrick Payton. Want to see more consistency, but the ceiling is super, super high. Really excited for 2024. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.